Hello people, I'm a guy in his bandana, and yeah, I decided that I'm gonna change this channel a little bit. This channel was mainly gonna be, well, about let's plays and these types of videos that I'm doing right now, but I decided to go full on with these videos because, I don't know, I just kind of enjoy them more. So yeah, in the last video I was like, oh, I'm not gonna change the title, I'm too lazy to change it now, but I'm gonna change it and just screw that. Anyways, today we're gonna be talking about one of my favorite shows when I was little. Well, this one and Sabumafu, but mostly this one, Curious George. Just listen to that soundtrack. When everything is so glorious. Yeah, I really like this show and it was really cool, but why did I enjoy it? Why did I watch it so much? Why did I get up so early just to see Curious George? Can't even pronounce the name. Let's see. Growing up without cable, there wasn't a lot to watch on TV for me to see. While my friends talked about the new Ben 10 episode or the funny Johnny Test episode that they saw the other day, I couldn't say anything about those topics or cartoons since I couldn't watch them. However, instead of all those cable TV shows, I watched a way different bunch of cartoons. Some of them were Arthur, Sabumafu, which I plan to do a video later on, Clifford, and of course, Curious George. Curious George was a show on PBS Kids about, well, a curious monkey named George, who lived with his owner, the man with the yellow hat, I guess? That's the only way they refer to him in the show. Not sure if I'm right on that or he had a name. I know in the movies his name was Ted, but meh, I'm gonna go with the man with the yellow hat cause why not? Now that I think about it, it's a name that's kinda like mine, you know, the man with the yellow hat, guy in his bandana. I like it. That's man with the yellow hat it is. Anyways, this show follows George on his adventures in the city and in the countryside, where he will learn, not before making a mess first, about life and everything that's around him. In fact, I remember watching this show and sometimes actually getting mad over what George was doing, to the point when I was actually happy because of the consequences that happened for his weird and crazy behavior. Yeah, sometimes George does deserve a little punishment for his actions. Now, for you guys to have an idea of how this show went down, let's watch an episode of Curious George Season 1 together, why don't we? It's morning! We are ready. The episode starts with George and Banana Man, he looks like a banana, so screw it, walking down the street in order to visit the museum. But first, they're gonna make a stop at the restaurant named Peschetti's for a
Sunday treat.
Thanks, narrator. That's my thing. I was gonna say it, but okay, I'm not judging him. As they make their way to the restaurant, George sees the reason why they're going to Peschetti's. Cannoli. Oh, wait, cannoli? What's cannoli? Cannoli. Chewable pastry shells stuffed with a sweetened filling of white ricotta, and often containing nuts or bits of chocolate. You learn something new every day. Sadly, before they can go into the restaurant, Chef Peschetti shows up and takes their beloved cannolis. Once they see this, they go to the back door of the restaurant instead of going to the front door like any normal customer would. I guess they're allowed to do this? I'm pretty sure that if I was friends with someone in a restaurant, they wouldn't just let me go like through the back door and into the kitchen like I owned the place. Yo, hey guys, what's cooking? Just stopping by, you know. It's me, your friend. I can come in here, right? There's no problem with. Outside the back door, they see Chef Spaghetti cat Miyoki, who proceeds to do what every cat does: stretch a little bit and then go back to sleep, cause that's what cats do. They go into the kitchen to find a depressed Chef Spaghetti and see that he hasn't been cooking anything at all. The reason behind this is that the chef is upset and won't make any new cannoli because someone has been, as the title of the episode implies, scratching the seats. And the main suspect of these scratches is the cat, Miyoki. He says that the cat has made a disaster, but all I see are 2 lines, so it's not that bad, chef. It's just 2 lines. That's fine. Whatever. Chef Pescetti says that he must ban Miyoki from the restaurant so she won't scratch any of his, seats. And that's the reason why he's not gonna make cannoli, because of the scratches. And, for me, here's a simple answer. Just keep the cat outside. Problem solved. Peschetti's wife implies that they'll not make any more cannoli until this problem is solved, which I already said has been solved by keeping the cat outside.
Yo.
Now, empty stomach George and the man with the yellow hat head to the museum where George starts having serious hallucinations with cannoli. George? You okay there? You've been tripping? I think he's lost it. He lost it completely. They talk to Professor Wiseman, who tells George he must think like a scientist, meaning that he has to use this scientific method to solve his problems. Sorry, Professor, but George, he's not that smart. I mean, he's kinda crazy. I mean, he sees hallucinations and he talks to paintings, so, yep, he definitely needs help. After all that crazy stuff at the museum, George abandons his owner. He literally just goes back to the restaurant by himself. He leaves the man with the yellow hat behind and heads to Peschetti's on his own to do some investigating. By drawing the scratches on the door? That's not gonna help you at all, but that's cool, I guess. The most hilarious part of this is actually the guy just, that the customer just asking George for garlic bread, thinking that the restaurant would hire a monkey as a waiter.
Waiter, could we get some garlic bread? Oh?
Then George proceeds to do his ultimate measuring test by using ravioli to compare the scratches. I don't think that will work in real life, to be honest, but I don't care. Whatever George thinks it's okay, then we roll with it. But that's enough proof, I guess, for George to think that the scratches were different and they were not being made by Miyoki. But hey, don't worry, he uses the power of monkey eyes and sees that the scratches were made by the cart that they used to deliver the plates to the tables. And that's it. Case solved, and everyone is amazed. Also, George ate cannoli in the end. Conclusion. There you go. Now that you've seen a Curious George episode, well, you can tell why I liked it. It's kind of like, it was a silly show. I mean, Curious George is always like looking for things or creating things that you're like, how is he gonna solve this problem? And then he like invents something so crazy, and you're like, well, yes, that's gonna work. But it's a really cool show, and it's a deep part of my childhood, and I always remember that weird intro song and the man with the yellow hat and all that. It's just cool, and it's a show that I'm not gonna forget. Anyways, that's gonna do it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, well, leave a like. And if you have any other shows that you watched when you were little, well, you can leave it in the comments and we can check them out in the future. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!